Hey there, welcome to Table Tennis Philosophy. What we're going to talk about today is what I think is probably going to be the most important video I've done, particularly if you are a player who is training and can do all the major strokes and look really good training, but having problems winning matches. What we're going to talk about today is pattern recognition. All right. And pattern recognition is something that you hear a lot about in computer analytics, and there's all kinds of applications, but pattern recognition is something that your brain will do, and we all have a certain amount of ability to do that. But the best definition that I saw for pattern recognition in sports is being able to make order out of chaos. And that's exactly what happens in sports. That's what happens in table tennis. It's one of the skills that good players have that other players who are struggling in matches don't have as developed an ability to recognize patterns and respond appropriately. This could play out in a lot of ways. One of the things I like to say is, if you want to slow it down a little bit, perhaps you know how to play chess, and the first thing that happens when you learn to play chess is learn how the pieces move. The rooks move a certain way, the bishops and knights move a certain way, the king and queen, the pawns. You have to learn all those things. Most people can learn that in 30 minutes, maybe not even that long. Now, just because you know how the pieces move, that in no way makes you a good chess player. In fact, you probably have to play hundreds, maybe thousands of games before you start recognizing the patterns that would allow you to succeed against good chess players. Now, the same thing happens in table tennis. You can learn a good forehand drive, a backhand drive, backhand block, forehand loop, backhand loop, opening, good serve, serve return. You could really have all those abilities, but if you don't know how to put them together, you're going to be really limited in how you play, and that's what I notice with developing players. I had a player the other day who could give a good underspin serve that would result in a push, and then she had short pips on her forehand. The ball was up enough and she could do a nice hit cross court, right to left, and it's a nice shot. But as we did it over and over and over, I discovered that was the same shot coming over and over. It didn't take long to just recognize she serves that way, I push that way, she attacks that way, I'm already in position. I'm recognizing the pattern very, very quickly. And on the other hand, let's take the other extreme. Perhaps you've watched top players play, Waldner in particular, who would recognize patterns very quickly, change patterns, perfect placement, and make it for where even excellent players were not quite sure what he would do, because constantly changing the patterns and him immediately recognizing typical patterns that happened. I think this is one of the reasons you're going to find a lot of really good soccer players, or even just people that played soccer at some point, are very good and are able to take the ability that they learned in that sport and translate it over to table tennis or other sports. And because in that, patterns are constantly changing, and it's a skill that all good soccer players have, is to be able to recognize patterns and adjust to changing patterns to the chaos that's happening. And the great creative soccer players, of course, can recognize things very, very quickly and It's just a skill that's important in all sports. In table tennis, it's extremely important. It's something that we don't spend enough time talking about, thinking about perhaps, but it's something that you can develop. Just because your pattern recognition right now is not great, you can develop it. One of the really good shots I've seen recently was at open play at Rhodes Jordan Park, where two of our better players were playing, and one of them had a just fantastic forehand loop cross court, and I was curious to see how the other player would respond, and he responded exactly right. He did a forehand block, placed it perfectly, and ended up winning the point. That's not a shot I typically see him do, but he immediately recognized where the ball was going. It was going to be stronger. He wasn't going to have time to counter loop it, and responded with a shot that wasn't anything special, but the fact that he recognized what to do with it ended up where he got the point. Now, what can you do to develop that ability to recognize patterns? First of all, you do have to get the foundation of your basic shots and do structured drills. You've got to have that. That still in no way means that you're going to play well against your tougher competition. But if you play matches and just like playing chess, hundreds of matches, get where you start recognizing certain patterns with certain players. And I've often said that if you play enough people, you can go anywhere in the world and just find a random person to play, and you'll be able to relate very quickly to somebody else that you played. Maybe not consciously, but you will have seen these shots before, and be able to adjust to new players much quicker than when you're first starting out. It's a lot of, oh my gosh, this person's hitting the ball so strong, and it's so unpredictable that you don't really know what to do. But if you can do drills that with more random drills where the ball's not going exactly where you would expect it, it trains your brain to handle those situations much better. And most of all, you really have to play matches. If you want to be good at playing in a match situation, you have to play matches. That's where I encourage you to play every player you can find. I mean, good, bad, great, whatever they are. You won't develop that recognition of patterns in table tennis unless you start playing matches and you figure out how your patterns match up against other people's patterns. And then in the midst of a chaotic point, you can see some order and you can realize what shot you should do, really without even consciously thinking about it. Your pattern recognition will be so good that you'll automatically make these shots quite often. All right, appreciate your comments. Hopefully this is helpful to some of you, particularly, like I said, if you're just struggling in matches, even though you're training really, really well. This is probably a big part of what's going on. All right, we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.